Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Bam Adebayo offers unique excuse for Heat after Game 1 loss to Boston Celtics. Bam Adebayo had quite the take on why the Miami Heat's 20-point Game 1 loss to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals wasn't closer. The CS had that one measly 14-point run at the start of the game, otherwise, it would have been a 50-50 game. I feel like it's a different ball game if they don't get off to a hot start at the beginning. You know, like you said, we went on a run in the fourth, Adebayo told reporters, hat tip inside the Celtics. But, if that start doesn't happen, if there's a ball in the air or a ball on the floor and we get those 50-50 balls, it's a different ball game. It's understandable to call out your own team for slipping up at various points in the game, but believing that the game would have played out the same way, with a fourth-quarter Heat run that certainly looked like the result of complacency following a 30-point CS lead built up in the second half, is a pretty blatant cope. Miami's fourth-quarter run should bother Boston, but Caleb Martin's hard foul on Jason Tatum, one possibly inadvertently caused by Drew Holiday, in the final minute of Game 1 should motivate the Celtics to come out like a house of fire in Game 2, leaving no doubt that this series is one the CS know they can't lose. Coming in as 15-plus point favorites, Boston is fully expected to win. And win big. But they play the games for a reason, as the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals between these two teams showed firsthand less than a year ago. Hopefully the copium is even stronger from Miami's players after a similar performance from the Celtics in Game 2. The NBA playoffs are starting to get interesting, and you can amplify the fun by betting on your favorite teams and players with instant bonus from DraftKings. You'll get $200 in instant bonus bets plus a daily no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up, deposit $10 or more, and then bet $5 or more on any game this week. Heat's Bam Adebayo drops snarky response to DPOY finalist nod. The Miami Heat had some representation when the NBA released the three finalists for various awards, including the honors of Defensive Player of the Year. For the first time in his career, Heat star Bam Adebayo is a finalist for the award as himself and head coach Erik Spoelstra talk about the big man getting recognition. There could be some shock that this is the first time Adebayo is a finalist as year in and year out. He is considered one of the best defensive players in the league. Even the University of Kentucky product himself is glad that voters are actually paying attention and had a slight sarcastic, but funny tone when saying that they're actually watching the games. I guess the voters are actually paying attention, Adebayo said. They're actually watching the games, paying attention to what I do that's not only showing up in the stat book. Adebayo's defense is usually his shining spot, but as he mentioned, his statistics might not show it since he doesn't rack up a load of blocks like the other two finalists in Minnesota Timberwolves' Rudy Gobert or San Antonio Spurs' Victor Wembanyama. However, the advanced statistics like one being field goal percentage against is excellent and how he's one of the few players in the league that can guard any position on the floor, which to him is a luxury to have. I feel like when you put your center on anybody on the court, whether it's a star players, role players, big men, whatever the case may be, I feel like that's a luxury to have, Adebayo said. If there is one person that has been asking Adebayo to be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year for several years, it is definitely Erik Spoelstra, who has praised the star on countless occasions in how versatile defensively he can be. When asked to give his thoughts on his first finalist nomination, Spoelstra said that it is great to see that he's acknowledged for his exceptional defense. It's great to see that he's acknowledged for the efforts that he does. Our team defense was very good this year, he was a major part of that, Spoelstra said. And his ability to do things that help your defense at the elite level that are not obvious, that are not just shot blocking or protecting the rim, it's being able to do multiple coverages to be able to guard 1 through 5, and do it consistently every single night at his very best. Another player that has been singing the praises of Adebayo's defensive ability who is new to his talents are Heat rookie Jamie Jaquez Jr., who talked after the play-in tournament win about his teammate defending Chicago Bulls star DeMar DeRozan. He would flat out say that he has been the defensive player of the year. "I think he's defensive player of the year in the league and he showed it again tonight why that's the case," Jaquez said last Friday. Guarding from bigs to DeMar DeRozan on the wing, he's just absolutely incredible. And the presence is really felt. We feel like he really anchors us on a defensive end, and so to be able to have a guy like that, it's just a blessing. Adebayo was really good on both ends of the floor in the Game 1 loss to the Boston Celtics Sunday afternoon as he led the Heat with 24 points and 6 rebounds. He looks to continue his solid play along with the improvement of the rest of the team as Miami looks to make this a competitive series in Game 2, which takes place Wednesday night at the TD Garden. Jimmy Butler expected to be out for entire Heat-Celtics series. Jimmy Butler injured his MCL when playing the Philadelphia 76ers in the opening round of the play-in tournament on April 16. He missed the opening game between the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat. The initial expectation was that he could potentially return later in the series. However, it would appear Butler's injury was more significant than first thought. According to FanDuel TV's Shams Charania, who was speaking on Monday's episode of Run It Back, Butler is expected to miss the entirety of Miami's matchup against the Celtics. "He is not going to be back in this series," Charania said. "This is a rehab that's going to go at least 1 month. It's seriously remarkable to me that he played 3/4 on this injury." Butler's absence will be a hammer blow to the Heat's chances of overcoming the Celtics. As we saw in Game 1, Boston had too much talent and too much depth for Miami to contain throughout the game. Butler was supposed to be Eric Spoelstra's swing factor. His direct style of play would have pressured the Celtics' drop defense and likely forced Joe Mazzulla into making some adjustments. Yet, it's Spoelstra who finds himself needing to switch things up. Of course, it doesn't help that Terry Rozier, neck, and Josh Richardson, shoulder, 2 former Celtics, are also out of the rotation. Boston should smell blood in the water. It doesn't matter who is or isn't in the Heat's rotation, you can only beat what's in front of you. Without their star player, and with 2 of their primary ball handlers sidelined, the Heat are the walking wounded. The Celtics have their sights set on something much bigger than potentially sweeping the Heat. They want a championship. However, banishing the demons of last season while also flexing your muscles a little bit is never a bad way to generate some much-needed momentum heading into the second round. Mazzulla will need to keep his team locked in and focused on the task at hand. Still, if Butler doesn't return, it's hard to envision the Heat finding much success against one of the best teams in the NBA. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.